The Killer Bay is back, GB.
She's back like she never left. Even though it's been about 11 months since we've seen her here, she has literally gone across the country and around the world perfecting her craft. We saw her recently at NWA 75 battling in the gauntlet for the #1 contendership, the Mildred Burke Invitational. She's been doing quite a bit, and now she's back here in Southern Honor Wrestling with one goal: to take over the women's division.
Dani Jordan returning to singles action after an appearance last month in the Rumble Jag. You talked about Heather Monroe trying to make her way and step up here in the women's division. Well, Dani Jordan has been the women's division since day one here in SHW. And this crowd comes alive for Dani Misdemeanor Jordan.
She absolutely has been here since day one, and the real challenge now is, back at SHW 50, she was given the task, thanks to Jake the Snake Roberts, to build the women's division. And so what has happened is a number of people have come in to try to challenge her and take her out and perhaps even impress her. The situation with Heather Monroe is going to be very, very interesting.
You see Heather Monroe in the opposite corner of Dani Jordan with her fan, just kind of unimpressed.
She looks completely unbothered. That's what happens when you're the Killer Bay.
And you mentioned it on the pre-show, GB, these two, when was the last time they faced off?
It was back in 2021, almost 2 years ago. And in that particular match, Heather Monroe defeated Dani Jordan. So that creates some very interesting angst for both of these young ladies. Now, Dani Jordan obviously took some time off. She was facing injury and went through quite a bit. Meanwhile, Heather Monroe has been actively wrestling the entire time, took some time, moved to the Midwest, and decided to really improve her craft. And so now, this should be very, very interesting to see what she brings to the table.
Still waiting for a lockup here as junior official Jeremy Prater did call for the bell, which I did hear. But looks like Heather Monroe wants to stretch a little bit first.
Heather Monroe, trained by the Centino Brothers Wrestling Academy in California, trained by Famous B. For all of those who remember the Lucha Underground days, you remember Famous B. And so this is very, very interesting. We've seen her all over the place. GCW, Impact, the NWA. Yeah, she's been everywhere, world traveled. But that's taking nothing away from Dani Jordan, who we know very much here has been all over the place.
And you see Heather Monroe with a bit of a size advantage, but Dani's not going to let that intimidate her.
Dani has always walked into certain situations with a height disadvantage, but her heart,
oh, look out,
and the fight in her has always been bigger than every opponent she's faced.
And Heather Monroe not making any friends here in this crowd in the Action building.
Well, Heather doesn't really care about making friends. She cares about making money.
Oh, what an uppercut. Now a snapmare takeover from Dani Jordan to Heather Monroe, and the low lariat takes down the Killer Bay.
Dani Jordan, we know her love for Missy Misdemeanor Elliott, would like to take that entire love and translate it into a big victory here.
Beautiful suplex there from Dani to Heather Monroe. Heather Monroe now struggling to get back up to her feet.
Dani Jordan would love to hit him with the he.
Look out. Oh! Face first right into that top turnbuckle. And now a series of forearms and a big uppercut there from Dani Jordan.
Dani Jordan right now all over Heather Monroe.
What a kick right to the side of the head from Dani Jordan. Now Monroe going to get sent across. No, a reversal. Sends Dani across. Dani slams on the brakes. Hits that bottom rope, and now, caught a kick right to the thigh. And now one right to the face, but no, it got caught. But there's a right hand from Heather Monroe.
You gotta wonder in terms of a scouting report and looks, oh boy. That kick was pretty severe there to Dani.
It might have been, could have been that wrist. I think it was a previously injured wrist that had her out for so long.
Absolutely. And you know, I was starting to wonder what kind of scouting report, you know, Dani had done on Heather, given the relationship, you know, that Dani had with, you know, someone closely connected to Heather. But the flip could actually be true in terms of who's closely connected to Heather and their relationship to Dani Jordan.
Dani just hit hard right to the guardrail on the outside, and now Heather Monroe coming right out after her.
Heather Monroe clearly focused right now on the injured wrist there of Dani Jordan. And you know, the Killer Bay has a killer eye and a killer instinct and is absolutely looking to take out Dani Jordan here in Dani's home of SHW.
What a shot right to the chest there from Heather Monroe. Now Dani right into the ring post, that same wrist once again.
Heather Monroe, perhaps unlike any other competitor that Dani Jordan has faced. Heather Monroe, world traveled and very focused right now.
You know, stomping on that wrist.
We saw her here last year. I want to ask you, she's been gone for a year. Do you see any marked differences between the Heather Monroe of today and the Heather Monroe we saw a year ago?
This is a much more vicious Heather Monroe than we saw a year ago.
You know, that's what happens when you go out and you travel the world. You bet on yourself and you say, hey, I'm going to better myself by going out there and fighting different talent, going to different territories, and now she's bringing that amalgamation of all of her experience into the ring, and it's really challenging Dani Jordan.
Absolutely, Dani now finally back in. A quick roll up here from Dani Jordan. No, Heather Monroe able to kick out. I think she was caught off guard there. Now looking for maybe a crucifix pin from Dani Jordan.
Count of two.
My goodness, Dani trying to pull out all the stops here, trying to surprise her opponent. Oh, look out. Dani Jordan hit hard right there in the corner.
And the challenge for Dani right now is to figure out how to work around this wrist.
Oh, no. She's got it trapped in the turnbuckle and just stomping on it.
That wrist literally took a year out of the career from Dani Jordan, and it could take even more as long as Heather continues to work on it.
Like I said, this is that vicious side of Heather Monroe, something we're not used to seeing here at SHW. She's been gone a long time, and to your point, GP, she's kind of learned a few tricks along the way.
She absolutely has, and you know, I think this is kind of a challenge for Dani because I don't know that Dani expected this, and this is certainly not the Heather Monroe that Dani faced 2 years ago.
But Dani looks like she's had enough finally, now firing away, but caught a right hand, but gonna answer right back with one of her own. And now it's just turning into a slugfest right in the middle of the ring, and now a chop fest.
Yeah, this is completely broken down.
Ooh, what a shot. But Heather answers right back. Dani with an elbow.
These chops are absolutely vicious and a big kick there.
Super kick from Dani Jordan just rocked Heather Monroe, but she hit one of her own, and Dani's down. Both ladies are down.
Yowie wowie. This is crazy, folks.
My goodness.
And now you've got both ladies laid out. They've literally hit each other with their best shots. They fired away, and now we're trying to see who can recover and take advantage of this matchup. Dani Jordan grabbed by the wrist. Once again, a smart and brilliant move. I just see the cerebral nature, the cerebral IQ, her wrestling IQ of Heather Monroe has gone up exponentially.
What a lariat there, and another one now from Dani Jordan as she's firing back up. Taking out the leg of Heather Monroe, and then, shotgun drop kick. Can she take advantage now?
The speed and quickness of Dani Jordan.
Dani looking for another suplex. And dropped her hard. She caught the rope as well, hooked the inside leg this time. Will it be enough?
Count of two.
Woo. Heather Monroe able to fire up that right shoulder just in time.
The Killer Bay is being tested right now. And a lot of the fans are thinking that this was a 3 count, but the referee was super close. It was only 2.
Dani now back up. You see her favoring that left wrist once again now. A rear waist lock, perhaps looking for a German that she's known for. If she can hit it, it might be over, but Heather Monroe hanging onto that top rope. She reverses. Standing switch there into a waist lock of her own.
And I definitely think that wrist is creating some potential problems there in terms of the strength department there for Dani Jordan.
Multiple standing switches here as both ladies jockeying for position. Back elbow there from Dani Jordan now. Here's that German.
Oh, there it is.
The release German suplex that she's known for. Dani just nailed it, but The veteran-like instinct there of Heather Monroe rolls to the outside, not allowing Dani to pin her.
Again, I think that's a great expression of the experience that she's had. And again, going after the wrist there of Dani Jordan.
Man, oh man. That wrist in all sorts of pain right now. Dani in trouble as Monroe now back up. Looking for maybe a belly-to-belly perhaps? Oh, well, she got mine here. Oh! What a unique move that was. That might do it, GB.
Whoa!
My goodness.
That was incredibly close.
I thought it was over, and now Heather Monroe, she's looking at the ref in disbelief. She thought it was 3.
Absolutely shocking there. Heather Monroe thought that was the end, and it wouldn't have surprised me if it was.
Dani digging down deep, somehow kicked out of that great move by Heather Monroe.
The problem here is Heather Monroe is taking so much time while she's in shock. She's giving Dani Jordan an opportunity to recover.
This crowd coming alive with a homegrown Dani Jordan. Quick roll up. Oh!
Counter 2.
Dani almost stole it right there. Looking for the J drop perhaps, but no. Monroe counters, and now,
oh wow!
That hammerlock, oh my goodness! Just wrenching on that wrist. Will Dani tap out?
That's the question here.
Dani is in the center of the ring. She's so far from the ropes.
She can't get close to the ropes. This is where those legs and that reach is a problem. She's going to have to depend on her strength.
She's digging down real deep, and then finally, the foot reaches the bottom rope.
And I mean barely.
And Heather Monroe taking advantage of the referee's 5 count and using up every last second of it.
Monroe has done some kind of damage there to Dani Jordan.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. And just continuing to stomp there on the wrist. It's not an illegal move at all.
Absolutely, like it or not, and this crowd does definitely not like it, but it's a smart move on Heather Monroe's part.
Dani Jordan's in trouble, and the ref really needs to consider whether or not this match needs to be stopped.
Prater still checking on Dani, checking on the wrist. Heather Monroe doesn't look like she wants to wait here. Dani, though.
Dani's in trouble.
In so much pain right now. I'm not sure if she can continue here.
Dani is in big trouble right now. And this is not the position that Dani thought she would be in.
And we know Dani's not a quitter. She's not going to want to give up.
She certainly isn't. She's going to push through the pain no matter what.
Heather Monroe charges in, but Dani gets the boots up just in time. A quick roll up here from Dani Jordan, no.
Not enough.
Oh, she's gonna rip that arm right to the socket, that Fujiwara-like arm bar here.
What will Monroe do? Will she tap? She tapped.
Dani Jordan tapped her out. Wow. Whew. What a matchup, GB.
An incredible match, and we knew it would be. Heather Monroe, if this was being scored on points, would have won by decision, but it's not being scored on points. And it was just that quick maneuver there, that quick armbar submission from Dani Jordan that results in Dani Jordan landing a big win, a come-from-behind victory, dare I say.
And I mean, like, throughout the whole match, GB, you just talked about it. Heather Monroe,
she was in control.
Yeah, she controlled that whole matchup.
She totally did, and now I will say this. I want to see more of Heather Monroe here.
Absolutely.
She was absolutely impressive.
And now Dani misdemeanor Jordan after this big win, this come-from-behind win. And that wrist in pain, she's calling for a microphone here from Diana Michelle.
What does Dani have to say?
How you feeling?
Pretty beat up, man. Pretty beat up. I'm feeling pretty beat up. But I feel like a winner. Nothing like that can keep me down. Heather knows better than that. What I really want to say is, man, every time I come out here, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. I can win over and over and over again. But there's something just not sufficient enough about the women's division here. That's not enough. Something's missing. And we know what that is. And if I'm not going to get it here, man, I guess I got to go find it somewhere else.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that coming.
Not quite sure what to make of that, GB. She didn't really specify what she was referring to, but I think we can all kind of guess what she meant.
Yeah, I mean, do we talk about the elephant in the room here?
It appears she was referring to a title, which
she definitely was referring to a title.
She said she's going to go elsewhere to find one.
What does that say? Holy cow.
Shocking. I don't know. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following